Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to The Hunter and the Beast, where we have a decision to make. We've completed the first, really obvious early goal, and so now we have to decide. Do we want to spend some time fighting these orcs? Do we want to try to make better friends with the New World colonies? Do we want to head east, where we have discovered the Vampire Coast Mutineers, going to war with which would get us another one of our hunters? I'm a little bit torn. Let's have a quick look at the New World colonies. What's their deal?
This better be good. I've got some big game to hunt.
So they're at war with the Blue Vipers. They're also actually kind of friendly with Hexoatl. They're running trade with Hexoatl. So the fact that we are at war with Hexoatl is negatively influencing their opinion of us. If we want to try to get them on side, going after the Blue Vipers is probably a good way to do that. Although, if they're friendly with Hexoatl, we're probably always going to have problems with them, because we are never going to be able to be friendly with the Lizardmen faction. And in fact, things are going to get a lot worse on that front, right? As our hostility climbs. Or as our acclaim climbs, we get additional diplomatic relations penalties with the Lizardmen. That's a tricky situation. We may have to give up on the idea of being friends with them. But going to war with the Blue Vipers would buy us some time at least. We'll get some positive reputation, and then maybe we can get them to take our side against the Lizardmen. That might be the best long-term play. And getting rid of these guys right now allows us to complete our second province, and allows us to not have to deal with scary built-up orc armies with the giant spiders and whatnot. Right now, we're not at war with those vampires over there. These guys are... they're going to declare on us, though. Look at how they feel about us. We see who they're at war with. Okay, they're fighting one of the Vampire Coast forces. They might stay distracted long enough. And there's this river between our settlements and theirs, so it's kind of awkward to move across rivers, especially through heavy jungle. Alright, let's go west. I think we can do this. I think we have the time. So, you can see here, the rightmost value on the bar that pops up when you mouse over a city tells you how many units are in that garrison, and we should have less of a problem with orc garrisons than we did with the Lizardmen. So I think let's just go for this. There's a river crossing here.
Markus,
Where's the edge of my territory? Where's my border? Not actually super clear where the border is between the Temple of Kara region and the thing here. It's probably just the river. Obviously, I want to stay on my side of the line, right? Why don't we move just a little bit less than 50%?
Only the dedicated.
And this time, successfully go into encampment mode. And we may as well fill the last slot in our army, right? Do we need more archers? I don't know. Probably not. Let's grab another unit of... we can't get spears with shields here. We don't have the upgraded building. We'll just grab another unit of swords. Just round things out. This is not an incredible army composition, but we're working with very limited troops. And over in Chotek, we can build ourselves a grazing pasture, plus 30 growth, massive casualty replenishment rate boost, only in this region, but still pretty good. The growth will be very, very helpful. We're 15 turns away from getting our next supply drop. We can accelerate that, but we will still accelerate that by fighting the orcs, right? It doesn't only go up when we fight Lizardmen, I think. We've encountered the Itza faction, which is a rather large group of Lizardmen down to the south of us. Obviously, the fact that our final battle is called the Battle of Itza gives you some idea of their importance in the region. I'm hoping we can avoid ending up at war with them for a while. Now, all these random pirate navies out in the water are probably things that we can just ignore. They're very unlikely to have any serious effect on us. But we should be at least a little bit careful, because it is possible that if we try to move troops over the water, sometimes they just go nuts and declare war on you for no reason. Alright, so we're going to declare war on the Blue Vipers this turn. This is when we're hitting the Temple of Kara, but we should see if we can use the fact that we intend to declare war against them as negotiating leverage with these guys. So I'll declare war on your enemies in exchange for that trade agreement. Likelihood of success moderate.
Not possible.
That's a shame. Going to war, obviously, will get us some positive reputation, but having contracts with them also increases our reputation with them. So getting the trade deal there would have been a double. You know what? Hold on. Let's try it one more time. I'm gonna throw some money on it too, because we have some cash. We can afford to throw it around a little bit. So I'll join your war, and also I'll give you, I don't know, 2,000 gold. How about that? I'd really like to see this value say high. What if we do... This is a little extreme, but what if we do that? Still moderate, really.
Okay.
Okay, well... I mean, that's a lot of money, but you can see we're now trending upward toward 29 reputation with them instead of downward toward a single-digit number. It'll probably end up being worthwhile.
Markus, Wolfhard.
Alright, yeah. You'll move back into a stance where I'm actually allowed to move around, and let's go kill some dudes. Hooray. This should be pretty straightforward.
They will fall.
So, Savage Orcs, this is sort of the basic unit of Savage Orc armies. It's a pretty tough physical unit, but it has 0 armor. They have physical resistance instead. The good news is that physical resistance is not particularly effective against our archers in the way that armor is, but they also have Frenzy. Like, they hit really hard. They have archer units, but they're bad. They're just extremely weak units. They're not weak units, but they almost always miss their attacks. So they still inflict the leadership penalty on things they're shooting at for getting shot at. But that aside, they're not too dangerous. And then these guys could be a little bit of a problem.
Let's get this done.
What we have on our side is volume of fire. We have a real like blot out the sun kind of strategy here, and hopefully that'll be good enough to get the job done. Also, we're going to be smarter about how we employ our wood elf. She's going to use her bow a little bit more. Listen, I played Vermintide. I know how good an elf handmaiden is with swords, but we'll try the bow thing just this once. I'll tell you what I would really like to have, what I think would help us a ton, is if we could get some magic going. We got to figure out what the best way to get a hold of a wizard with our limited building capability is. Okay, good news is it's a pretty open field. The other good news is that we outrange them considerably. So I'm gonna just set up... Yeah, that should be sufficient. Actually, we could probably even pull the mortars back a little bit, huh? Take them like here. Yeah, that's still shooting range.
We are ready.
And we don't really have a lot of strategy to employ here still. The Free Company Militia are going to be way more effective against these orcs than they were against the Sauruses, which is great. We may as well... Here, I'm going to move one of the units of archers out to the side and put the huntsmen in the middle of the formation. Take advantage of their superior range. And then we're just going to line up all the melee troops in front of them and hope that things go okay. Orcs are not particularly fast, so I'm expecting that we'll be able to do some pretty good work with our running troops, with our kiters. So you have 3 copies of this now, 3 charges of this. We're definitely going to want to use this during the fight. And actually, you know what? I'm going to put the 2 heroes pretty far up front. We're going to do some kiting here, like I said. We can withdraw while firing into their formations. So where do they put everything? Okay, we did put ourselves in range of the arrow boys, but I'm not too concerned. Let's make sure the mortar has a reasonable target. Like, who do we care about most? It's probably the big ones, right? So if we shoot here, these guys are kind of in the middle of the formation. That'll do. Alright, and then you 2 fall back while firing. You guys... There are enough shooters in their arrow boy units that we do have to worry a little bit about massed fire on large targets like the war wagons. They won't miss large targets quite so easily. Actually, we can just have her drop her ability, right? Her thing is not single target only. Some fine mortar work there. Okay, that did some damage. Can't select her because of the notification covering her up.
At speed! Outriders!
Okay, well, one thing that the war wagons are doing very effectively is holding their ranged units back from the actual battle, which is cool.
Outriders!
We're not really paying much of a price for it either.
Go!
Spearmen!
Keep running. No, sorry. Box select too aggressively.
Get her quickly!
There's definitely an attention cost to be paid here, but we've done a good job of softening them up on their approach. Oh, hold on. This is one of those situations where individually their melee units are better than our melee units. We will definitely lose swordsmen just going straight up swordsmen versus orcs. But obviously, our hope is to never ever have to fight a fair fight, right? It looks like things are going okay on that front. Markus and Kalara should run out to the side. We can get a little bit of an assist on this group here. War wagons are doing some work on them. Got to keep the war wagons moving so that the archers don't get too strong of a bead on them. Actually, over here, the archers are smarter, so let's try to establish a flank. Now, orc archers are still orcs, so actually it's a lot more dangerous to engage in melee attacks with them than it is most units of archers. I don't think it would be a good idea for us to attempt a chariot charge here. Can't use my thing on them because they are too close. How about these guys? Hit these guys with it. Alright, shoot into the flank. We've got a couple of our swordsmen are too eagerly doing their job. Okay, I think we're seeing their units permanently break. This should be the end of it. So yeah, that's going to be the formula basically for a lot of these battles for quite some time. And it's not going to be forever, but for quite some time we're going to be massively physically overmatched. We just don't have access to good Empire melee troops, and the enemies that we're fighting, Savage Orcs and Lizardmen, are really, really good at melee combat. So we're going to be very reliant on our archers and our mortars. Once we get into battle with the Vampire Coast units, or the Vampire Coast armies, things are going to be extremely different. Vampire Coasts have no functional melee at all, but they have, while their gun units are not terribly accurate on account of most of them being zombies who are falling apart, they really do just pack a ton of guns into each unit. Their rifleman unit has 160 figures in it. So against those guys, we're going to have to come up with something else. War wagons are going to be a lot better there. We're probably going to want to have some actual cavalry for that. We can figure it out. One of the great things about the Empire is that it is an incredibly versatile army lineup. You can do a lot of different things with it as soon as the Emperor allows you to. Okay, definitely just occupy it. I don't think it helps us to loot here. There's not even that much money to be had. Ooh, that is a really, really good find. I am thinking we're probably going to switch that off of him, though, because we're never going to want him to be in melee, and there are at least some situations where we're going to put her in melee, so let's give her this fancy talisman. And in fact, she should have the Armor of Fortune, and honestly, probably the Ogre Blade. She could also steal some of his followers. That doesn't really help us at all. Man, she's a really, really good unit.
Markus Wolfhard.
Okay, so we've maxed out Pistol Corps. Now the question is, do we take Emperor's Finest to buff up the melee units that we're using now, or do we try to look ahead to what our army will be and prepare for that instead? So we could end up with a bunch of cavalry. This is probably a pretty distant concern. I'm not going to bother with Honest Steel right now. Do we want to try to buff up our this stuff? We could buff the war wagons. 15% damage reduction and also faster reloads. That's a pretty big deal. Alright, I'm going to take this just because I really, really like war wagons. We can, of course, come back and get Emperor's Finest. What is it? It gives 4 melee defense at first. So melee defense just increases the chance that an enemy's melee attack will miss you. It doesn't do anything to the damage that the attack deals if it actually hits. And then melee attack, obviously, is your chance to hit against enemies. I'm going to do it this way. Let's really lean into these war wagons, because I think they're super cool. Hostility is increasing, which is good in some ways, and less good in others. And we are... I'm going to turn off taxation. Because the public order situation over here is getting pretty desperate. When we hit enough growth to upgrade the Temple of Tlenkan to level 3, I might swap our commandment over to Festdag just to get our public order positive. And let's go ahead and upgrade the livestock pens again. Let's keep that area growing as rapidly as possible.
Markus Wolfhart.
So this, oh, they built a garrison structure here. You can see, so they're really going to try to keep us out of that. 14 units is probably beatable, but we're going to need to actually like heal up at the very least. All right, so what buildings do we have here? We took over, both of these buildings had basic unit, or both of these cities had basic unit structures in them. Let's pull down this one. Minor settlements are capped at level 3, while major settlements can go up to level 5. So the building slots in major settlements are a little bit more valuable, because there are a bunch of buildings that can go up to rank 4 or 5 and give you tremendous bonuses. This caps out at 3, so it's okay to leave it in this small settlement. Yeah, I'm pretty bummed out about that 14-unit garrison over there. I was hoping we were going to be able to just sweep them really quickly before they had a chance to build up in response. Especially since we know they're at war with the New World colonies. Like, I was hoping that their armies were up north. Well, we'll see what they do. If it's just the garrison, if they don't have any defensive army in the area, we can probably still take it. Although, like I said, it'd be... Oh, never mind. They do, in fact, have an army in the area. Yeah, that's going to be a problem for us. That's a big army, too. So you can see the bar next to the flag indicates how full the army is. The fact that this is all red means it's a 20-unit army. A spate of riots has broken out across the Empire due to recent tax rise. The increase has been introduced as a way to help generate more funds for your expedition and the New World colonies, but is putting a number of people into severe financial hardship. Though there is no real danger of insurrection just yet, you are contacted separately by the Electors of Hochland, Middenland, and Wissenland, who seek your backing on their chosen course of action. Man, alright. Okay, the Elector of Hochland wants to address the riots by just murdering the rioters. Not a thing I'm a huge fan of, and it will delay our supplies, which I think is real bad. But... oh, okay, so having the favor of different states. I know that there are, with the update that came with the DLC, there are now more special units that are specific to minor imperial lands, so I'm wondering if we'll get access to those special units this way. The Elector of Wissenland wants to strengthen the Empire's political position to help maintain control, which will rile up your enemies across the world. An instant increase in hostility level actually might be a good thing for us, because it'll help our supplies arrive quickly, right? I'm trying to remember, is Wissenland, is this where Nuln is? These might be the people who make the cannons. I would really like some great big cannons. That sounds good. Or the Elector of Middenland wants to just temporarily reduce the taxes, requiring overseas income to be diverted to him to fill the deficit. So we'll lose income from our ports for a while, but we're making almost no money. This is like no cost, but I think this is actually beneficial to us. Yeah. Give me those Imperial supplies immediately. Okay, so Great Cannon, it's going to be the same each time. Interesting. What do we really want against these orcs? Huntsmen are really nice for the additional range and the fact that their attacks do so much more damage. Halberds and greatswords are totally fine melee units, definitely a lot better than the melee units we have now. I'm wondering if picking up some cavalry so that we can do some proper charges might be a good idea. Outriders with grenade launchers, I don't actually have a ton of experience using. I know that they have grenade launchers, and there's certainly something to be said about that. Who doesn't love to blow up orcs? But I'm thinking maybe cavalry reinforcements are actually the right move here. I don't know that the pistoliers are necessarily great, but Empire Knights are they're good, like good hard charging cavalry. And we probably don't need any more war wagons. I'm going to take the knightly orders. The expedition's relentless aggressions have caused hostility to rise to deadly levels. The enemy are now concentrating their military resources against you. Emergency Imperial supplies have been dispatched. So, that has caused this to happen. I am concerned about that. We've encountered the children of the old ones, and they have immediately declared war on us, and I am concerned that we are not going to be able to deal with this situation. Okay. These guys are, you know, this army is largely made up of just the most basic Savage Orcs. They have some arrow boys. They have their own anti-infantry armor-piercing cavalry. Definitely a big concern, although low armor and, of course, large means that they're vulnerable to massed ranged fire.
Markus Wolfhart.
And I'm wondering if we dismiss some of the units from Markus Wolfhart's army to make room for our new cavalry, or if we recruit a new lord right now and have him be the cavalry guy. So recruiting a new lord, this is a second army. This will give us a second army, but you can see it will dramatically increase our military upkeep. It will be bad enough that it will make us considerably negative once we include the upkeep costs of hiring in the new units. It would definitely be a desperation move. But I think a desperation move might be warranted in this situation. So let's see. This guy is perceptive. He has an increased chance to take magic items from enemies. Oh, this guy gives significant public order bonus. He might be useful. Or we could hire some, like, archlectors or generals of the Empire. I think we're very much on the Huntsman General since we have that bonus to their recruit rank. Let's take Rickard Huldorf.
Huntsman General.
This is going to be rough for us here for a minute, money-wise.
What does the Emperor bid?
Okay, you're definitely taking this. And then what are these skills? Bonus versus large for... Okay, bonus versus large for spears, bonus versus infantry for greatswords. That's a pretty good skill, actually. Range up for all huntsmen and archers in the army is pretty cool. Extra movement range and replenishment rate is a great skill. Oh my god, what a good skill. And then... I kind of think maybe we go redline with him too, and we just take speed of horse. Obviously, you know, once we level up a little bit more. So if we take on all of these horse units, you can see their upkeep is not insignificant. I'm like thinking about re-enabling taxes here. That's gonna put us in such a bad position public order wise. Like one of the armies is gonna have to turn around if we do that. We can't afford to run both these armies for very long, obviously. When you summon in a new lord, they are immediately out of movement, so we can't use him to push these guys right now. But what we can do, I'm gonna try to do something. Do we want to pull in? New units are really expensive. That's right. This guy does not have the upkeep reduction. All right, we're gonna move Markus just outside the city.
Monster Hunter.
And go into ambush mode.
Trap is set.
So you see the red area around the army is called the zone of control. If an enemy enters Markus's zone of control without spotting him, we'll get the chance of launching an ambush, and we'll be able to use all the nearby armies as reinforcements in that ambush. So I'm hoping these guys will see just a weak garrison and a weak army. They'll push forward, and we'll obliterate them in a defensive ambush battle, and then we'll figure the rest of this crap out later. If they don't push forward and they make us chase them, I don't know what's going to happen. It's not going to be good, though, I'll tell you that. This is definitely a difficult start. And then we got to worry about that big army of Lizardmen, the mysterious army of Lizardmen, because we're not close enough to that army to actually see anything about their composition. There's a significant chance that we're going to get blown up here. Maybe going after the Blue Vipers so early was a bad idea. Or maybe Going after the Blue Vipers even faster was what we wanted to do. Okay, so this army is attempting to move via the underway. We can intercept them, but obviously this would be pretty bad for us. Okay, they did not fall for the ambush. This is just a normal battle. I'm not sure why it's a normal battle. They must have seen our ambushing army.
I've got your backs, so watch mine.
If we fall back here, they're still going to have enough movement to pursue us and attack us again, but we'll be outside of reinforcement range of some of these guys. So I think if we're going to do this, we have to do it now. I do not have super high hopes on this one. This is a large number of orcs. They moved up their reinforcements. It is possible that our range advantage is going to be sufficient to whittle them down a lot before they get near us. If that doesn't happen, we're dead. And our poor melee troops never get time to replenish. If we had gotten this as an ambush battle, we would have been able to take up a little bit better positioning, catch them in a weak formation. Okay, their reinforcements are coming in right over there, and our reinforcements are coming in behind their army. That is not good. That is not a good thing. Well, alright, here's what we have to do then, I think. We either have to set way up in the corner so that those reinforcements take forever to reach us, or we have to set up over here and try to kill this army first and then kill this army. Do basically 2 1v1s instead of the 2v1 that they're hoping for. If we set up over here and just fire at them as they approach, that gives us the opportunity to actually use our reinforcements effectively. I think that's probably the move. So we're going to do the same thing with these two, have them in forward positions, ready to fire while retreating. I have to put the mortar pretty close. I'm a little worried about giving them these trees to use to approach us. We'll just have to hope that they're stupid. I mean, they are a force of Savage Orcs. We're going to hope that they do not approach us in the optimal way. As you have seen, the AI semi-frequently does not do things in the optimal way. It's not completely unreasonable to suggest that it might happen. I'm having a hard time conceptualizing victory here. I'm going to start the Pistoliers way over here in the woods, and my hope is that we'll be able to just see them walk past us, and then we'll be able to immediately emerge and start shooting them in the back. So let's see how they do this. There's a possibility that they will just fall back to their reinforcements and try to approach us as one big group, which is not great for us.
Our steeds are restless. Moving now.
Let's get these reinforcements over here. So we have the pretty weak troops of the garrison, and then of course all of our fresh Imperial supply cavalry. Where is the end of the range for the mortar? Pretty far away, actually.
Watch your backs. This way.
Now we do have to be wary of their cavalry. They can absolutely attack us in a way that would be really awkward, especially like our lords moving back. These guys are in a little bit of danger.
Very well.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about cavalry. There are basically 2 kinds of cavalry. There are shock cavalry, and there are, I don't remember what the term the game uses is, but basically like heavy cavalry. Shock cavalry have a high charge bonus. When a unit executes a charge into an enemy, they get a bonus equal to this number to their melee attack, and I think their weapon strength, for like 10 seconds. So with shock cavalry, you're supposed to charge the enemies, then pull them back. You know, charge the enemies, fight for like 5 or 10 seconds, pull back, charge somewhere else, and you get the, they're much more about utilizing the benefit of that morale loss from being charged and stuff. Heavy cavalry, you can just roll in there and fight like they're infantry. They're just big, fast infantry. We do not really want to just stay in and fight with our cavalry. We want to charge people and then back off. That said, let's charge some people and then back off, because they're about to do that thing to us. I'm going to have our huntsman general fall back a little bit and try to have the spears just form up to receive the charge. What are your abilities? Plus 50% flame weakness and minus 48% speed on contact. So he has an oil pot that he can throw at people, and then he has a flaming arrow attack. That's interesting. Let's... Oh, that's a really short range ability. Never mind. We'll try to use that on those guys eventually. I think we're going to have these units break this way as well. And the heroes need to start falling back. You know, we can have the pistoliers turn around and shoot at the boar boys as well. Okay, they have elected not to directly charge into the spearmen. Let's have the pistoliers maybe get away from all of these Savage Orcs that are following us up. This is actually kind of good for us. They're a little distracted from their purpose. And they're totally in mortar range. So the bad news is these infantry units are probably just dead. I'm going to have them try to distract the Savage Orcs. We're going to pull our Empire Knights through the formation if we can. This guy can go ahead and oil flask the boar boys, which is much more about reducing their speed than anything else. And all of these units just need to stay away from the orcs. When I click over here, I'm not sure why it's directing them in kind of a goofy formation shape. Alright, yeah, this has a lot of their melee units not doing the things that would probably be best for them, and instead just running around in our mortar range, which I think is actually going to really work out in our favor. So pistoliers are functionally, for our purpose, basically faster but weaker war wagons, which is pretty good. Just clicked outside the window for a second there, apparently. Alright, we've almost gotten rid of those boar boys. Now, a thing with low leadership our units, like boar boys, is that we should really expect them to break easily, but then show back up to battle a lot. It's less of a thing with higher leadership units, which only break when they're like really defeated. So it's always a hazard fighting orcs. Our general did not manage to pull out the way I was hoping he would. Alright, mortar fire into the fat part of the enemy force. I mean, they're aiming for the fat part of the enemy force. They're doing their best. These heroes, get out of here. Alright, we managed to chase the boar boys all the way off the map. If a unit that is retreating gets past the white border at the edge of the map, they are permanently lost to the battle. So that's helpful for us. And right here we have a really good example of leading the enemy off into an inferior attacking position. We managed to thin them out with our ridiculous tactics, but we still have that other army over here. It's going to be a real problem. I think we're probably still dead, honestly. Alright, the pistoliers have been revealed because the enemies came down through the forest a lot more than I thought they were going to. Have our lords move down here.
Yes, General.
I'm gonna have the mortar turn. I think it's about time we start shooting at these guys instead. Alright, pursue those guys off the map if you can.
At your service.
to get them. Where are my cavalry guys? They got caught. Horses do not have all of their speed when moving through heavy forest. Unfortunately, we did not really have the option of not moving through the forest due to the positions of the enemy units. Just do our best to pull these guys out here. Alright, we're going to have to make some changes to the arrangement. First of all, this unit of pistoliers needs to get out into a flanking position. And unfortunately, we have a lot of melee units that just don't have the ability to... We're too outnumbered to actually fight all the enemies. So we're going to have to keep some people on this side to defend against this push, but we're going to have to shift the formation quite a bit. We can pull you guys over to here. Just give me some cover. These archers are actually probably doing fine work at the moment. These huntsmen probably also basically doing what needs to be done. And our two lords... I think we want to try to wing them out with the pistoliers, like get around the side and fire into the flanks. She needs to start using her abilities. Actually... Well, we should let her move back first, right? Because that ability has a minimum range, and it's pretty tight. Okay, we did manage to get rid of that unit of Savage Orcs. Managed to push them off the side of the map. Let's execute ourselves a cavalry charge here. Alright, good enough. Don't stand and fight with the Savage Orcs. I don't think that's going to end well for anybody. We're going to try to organize a push into their flank here. And the mortars are doing some fine work. Yeah, we gotta like execute a serious push. Keep moving, keep moving. What we really need from these pistoliers is for them to like end up over here, I think. How close can she fire this? Okay, that'll work. Those guys don't seem to have any idea what they want to do. Yeah, unfortunately, a bunch of our knights are just not going to make it out of the forest. In a sense, that's okay, like in a larger organizational sense, because we can't afford to pay these troops. So the loss of them is maybe actually like an okay thing in the long run. Okay, he's finally executing that shot we told him to execute. Work these guys. If we can kill their lord, that would be a big deal. Orcs have a lot of leadership problems, and one of the ways you can deal with low leadership armies is by just hitting them with a bunch of leadership penalties in quick succession. Killing your lord is a great way to do that. And you can see we're constantly, like, we're driving off a bunch of their units. It's just they're so numerous. Here, charge these guys who are trying to retreat. Actually, never mind. Just keep running yourself. You guys gotta get out of there. The Free Company's getting manhandled. We've lost too many of the melee troops, so now the mortars and the archers are gonna get swamped. And the war wagons can fight a little bit. Yeah, we're just gonna lose this. And we're gonna lose this like hard too. You guys get down here. Stay close enough to the enemy to shoot. Actually, this, unfortunately, some of our units are also running out of ammo. We're really losing our ability to to kite people. Yeah, actually, the mortar is just about out of ammo too. So like it ending up in melee isn't even really hurting us because it couldn't be shooting anymore anyway. Alright, she's reasonably good at melee combat. She'll handle that. I guess what you guys can do is charge some units off of her, maybe? Let's see if we can break apart these little groups of units that have separated from their main force. Run!
Ready for war.
Alright, we gotta execute a massive fallback here. A couple of our units of swords are somehow still holding strong.
Bowstrings taut. As ordered.
Let's see if we can pull her out of there.
Outriders.
Use the war wagons to hold these guys in place, because she does do more damage with her bow than she does with her sword.
At once!
Yes, General.
At speed!
Yeah, man, we did some good damage here. It's just not nearly enough. Close defeat. I don't know if I agree. There were an awful lot of orcs left there. So they brought about 3 times as many people as we did to the battle. That's usually a bad sign. We did get a fair number of calls, or a fair number of kills there, rather. Sorry, talking as I'm looking at my phone. So that was an attack on an army, not an attack on the settlement. Because it wasn't technically a settlement battle, our units are not all instantly destroyed by the loss. But I don't know how we're going to recover from this. And a lot of it's going to depend on what they do with the rest of their turn. It does feel like strategically attacking the Blue Vipers was the right move, like in terms of what we have to do to secure our land and the enemies that are around us and everything, but tactically, definitely non-ideal.
Double back.
So it looks like the new Lord was not actually killed in the battle. He must have been driven off the side of the map. It just scared him away. So his army is over there, and we can fall back to the temple. We're not going to bother manualing that. He's obviously dead. So never mind about my plans about getting him out of there. If they had not finished him off, he could have used the beach to escape. It's remarkable how quickly an army can build boats when they're really motivated. I think we're going to have to definitely give up the Temple of Clara, at least. Yes, our ambush was in fact foiled. Well, good news is that we are now positive on money again. Clara gained an agitator follower. Okay, lots of public order bonus followers here. So we're going to start taking her yellow stuff, right? We should take Endless Hunters. I'm assuming that these battles largely count as forest battles because there's so many trees. Do we fall back to here? Or do we prepare for this to fall as well and just go back to our initial province? It's a tough call. Hold on, let's see. Can we equip any of those followers that we... Yeah, let's definitely pull in all of the public order bonuses that we can possibly get. And does she have as many as she can? Okay. All of our followers are equipped. Well,
Every last beast.
I guess let's start by falling back here. I don't think the enemies are going to be able to reach this settlement in a single turn, so this is probably a safe enough place to go for right now. We can't actually make it all the way back.
My arrow flies true.
And we need to recruit some new guys. We're going to need melee again. We ran out of melee completely there. Let's go ahead and grab Colonial Fort. I do think this is still the right play. We're probably going to go for Imperial Reinforcements next. I think more free units, more good quality free units is definitely the right move. So we're losing that settlement for sure. We have some building options here. Once we get this building, the main settlement building here leveled up, we can go after some stables or a gunsmith, which will let us build mortars and more war wagons and handgunners. I'm a huge fan of handgunners. This is handgun in the a sort of an archaic sense where it means rifle and not pistol. We could definitely use some guys with rifles. We also have access to a couple of other types of buildings, though. Purple buildings are more about unlocking advanced units. These are sort of like your military technology buildings. Blacksmith to get access to some better weapons. The armory will give us the ability to build steam tanks eventually. Unfortunately, you have to do a lot of other stuff before you can do that. But I have to say, a Wizard's Conclave would be a really nice thing to have. Wizards are they're so useful. And then here we can build additional defense structures. This is how that orc settlement all of a sudden got a larger garrison. We're definitely going to need some of these. And then finally, green is just straight economic buildings, things like raw money and growth generation. I think we're going to build some fields here. I know I probably sound like a broken record with this growth stuff, but growth is tremendously important. Casualty replenishment rate is tremendously important. So that's the way we're going to go there. And then here, we're going to start this upgrade. And I think we're going to swap over to Festag, because otherwise we are going to lose this. We're going to have to come back here and put down a rebellion, like, immediately, and we just don't have the time, man. We are stretched too thin as it is. Now, let's see what... Nakai the Wanderer... He wants a peace treaty, and he's willing to pay for it. Yo, absolutely! I don't know what is going on with you right now, but I will take that for sure. He's also at war with some Dark Elves and some Skaven. He's just got a lot of stuff going on right now. Okay, yeah, fewer forces at war with me sounds great. Honestly, at this point, 300 gold also sounds great. Like the Vampire Coast worked out their difficulties with their mutineers. Not in the way that you would expect. So I'm assuming Nakai the Wanderer's land is to the south of us. Are there Dark Elves down here? Yeah, no way we can hold on that. Well, interesting, they just sacked it rather than actually reclaiming it. Why would they do that?
I'm no statesman, though I do have the authority to discuss matters of the state.
Gentleman Jenkins of the Freebooters of Port Royal has declared war on us. Okay. That's not a big deal. So he's one of those pirate armies. Like I said, sometimes they just go nuts and declare war on you. We don't have to worry about them coming inland. I've never seen those guys get out of the water, but that does mean that it's very dangerous for us to try to move armies around on the water. Okay, well, I'm not sure why they just sacked that instead of doing
Markus,
the thing that's actually dangerous, but I'm overjoyed about it.
Man the lookouts.
So this region is going to suffer a public order penalty for having ruined buildings, for devastation, unless we repair this stuff. But if we repair this stuff, it's just going to get destroyed again, so we might honestly just leave it. We are absolutely going to take that, no question. How much would it be to effect repairs here? 800 plus 552. That sucks. That's a lot.
Markus, Wolfhart.
So you can see what a big difference the bonus replenishment rate is already making. We're going to be able to restore these units in no time. And we managed to hold on to our huntsmen there. We actually didn't lose any of the important units from the main army. In 3 turns, hostility level is going back to 0. Which we could really use. So I guess for the moment, let's just recruit, right? Let's just fill the army. We have 5 slots left, so it doesn't really make sense to try to use the global pool, because we can fill from the local pool in 2 turns, and I really do think it's just a lot of swords at this point. We sure are low on money. You know what? Let's replace a couple of these with spears, just in case we do have them bring in more boar boys against us. And I'm going to leave those buildings damaged. When you have a rebellion in a province, it will tend to appear outside, as an army, outside the main settlement, if you control the main settlement. So I'm not too worried about a rebellion here. We could just step outside and immediately put it down. A rebellion back at the Temple of Tlenkan would, of course, necessitate us running home. And I really don't want to do that, because I'm afraid if we take our army out of Tlachtlan, we're going to see it get burned to the ground. Spirit of the Jungle. Hey, that's Nakai's force, right? So I guess that's why they wanted peace. They were getting totally annihilated by somebody. Okay. Temple of Kara burned to the ground. Yeah, the Spirit of the Jungle was just... They were losing their battle really badly, and they didn't want to be at war with anyone they didn't have to be at war with. Alright, we've spent multiple turns on a sentiment with low public order, and Markus Wolfhard is slowly getting better at dealing with it. Out there in the world, lots of terrible things are happening to lots of people.
Wolfhart.
And unfortunately, we lost the building that was allowing us to recruit swordsmen, so we did not get our swordsmen last turn. But we did get the 2 spears we were pulling in. I think we're gonna... Do I want to just stay put for a turn? Maybe we need to head back home after all. Maybe I should turn on taxation, start our army running in this direction, intentionally spawn a rebellion. A significant number of the people who are unhappy with our rule will leave our empire to join the rebellion, which means public order will rise, because the malcontents are leaving, and then we'll just kill them all. And that'll maybe restore public order there for a little while. It's a pretty desperate move. We can probably turn off taxation here because we're getting almost no income from the region anyway. It's a desperate move, but we're in a desperate situation. In 2 turns, we'll have another building slot here. We could build, like, a basic garrison structure and try to get this place a little bit more defensible. So we could stay down here until that is done, just to try to hold on to the region. Things are desperate. This is a bad time. Right now, we can move almost all the way back to the temple. So I'm wondering... I think I'm going to turn taxation back on here. We're going to intentionally drive this region to a rebellion. We'll stay put here for one more turn and just do some recruitment. That'll get our army almost back to full health. I think it's just got to be a couple units of spears. Right? I don't think we want any more archers than we currently have. Yeah, this is not an ideal strategy, but honestly, if this big army of Lizardmen pushes toward Tlaxcalan, we might want to bail just because we might not be able to win that battle, and I don't want to lose the entirety of this army with all of our advanced troops in it. Quote-unquote advanced. Relatively advanced. Listen, I know it's just a box on wheels that we have some rifle guys sitting in, but we don't know how to build rifle guys, so it's going to have to be good enough. It's like the New World colonies are out there doing some fine work. They might actually deal with the Norskins, because remember, the Norskins are weakened because they've been attacked by those pirates so many times. Okay, we can actually see the makeup of his army now. Let's try to plan a little bit here. So he has a couple of units of basic Saurus spears, some red-crested skinks. We saw these guys are actually pretty good fighters, although they are still skinks and so easy to kill. A lot of real basic skink units, and then they have flying guys. They have pterodon riders who are gonna hurl spears and rocks from the sky at us. Pterodon riders are not super dangerous, and they're actually really fragile. So an archer-heavy composition is really good at dealing with pterodon riders. If they were to attack this city, we've had control of it for long enough that the garrison is up to full health. We have functional walls.
Markus, Wolfhart.
Honestly, I think we could probably take them. It's just a question of timing. Like, let's be recruiting another unit of archers. Turns out we do want to go archer deep against this composition. If they attack us next turn, the Temple of Tlenkan will fall to -99. We could defeat these guys and then run up. When a rebellion army spawns, it's very weak. They're extremely easy to kill on the first like turn or two without suffering any real losses. That would put us like very much back in control of our situation. If these guys attack us next turn, and then we can push up and deal with the rebellion. If these guys screw around in our territory for a little while before attacking us, that puts us in a much worse position. I think I'm gonna reverse course on this. I know I'm waffling on this thing a little bit. It's still gonna be low. Like, we're still gonna have to run over there and deal with it no matter what. But this gives us a little bit of a window, I think, in case they don't attack us on the next turn. If they do attack us on the next turn, I think we're actually in really good shape. And then if we put this Lizardmen army down and the orcs don't follow up immediately, that probably just means that we're safe. Like, we probably have reestablished control. Obviously, we're not anywhere at all in our quest to wipe out the Blue Vipers. But one problem at a time. Let's survive first, then we can talk about winning. I gotta say, I'm very pleased by the difficulty of this so far. It is sometimes the case in Total War Warhammer, especially with the easier starts, that the early part of the game can just feel kind of automatic. But this has been an interesting challenge. Okay, and they're coming right for us. So they put the city in siege rather than attacking. That's interesting. Alright, ensure that you have constructed a tavern or a barracks. There are other talented individuals loyal to the Empire. Build suitable facilities and they will follow you for the betterment of your cause. Yes, this is just learn how to recruit heroes. Hostility has dissipated. Next care package in 48 turns. Obviously, not ideal. So with them sieging the city,
Markus,
first of all, we can't recruit, so that unit of archers that we were trying to pull in, we will not get. We're actually positive on public order over here now with the hostility lost and everything, so we don't have to worry about that boiling over. If we attack them, which we can do, it will not be a city battle. They're far enough from the walls that we won't get the benefit of the walls, but we will still get our full 19-unit army plus the 8 units from the garrison, and honestly, I think maybe we can just handle them. Maybe that's the right thing to do. Unfortunately, I probably don't have time. That's going to be kind of a large, longer battle, and I probably don't have time to do that right now. So what I'm going to do instead is end this episode here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. I'm having a lot of fun with this campaign. Our units are fun, it's cool to use the war wagons, and I'm excited to use them to murder just a ton of lizardmen tomorrow. So come back then, and we'll see you.